Alright guys, in this video clip, we're going to take advantage of our special guests and great friends Chris and Walter to take advantage of the fact that we have two young folks here, just like we interviewed a 58-year-old person in the other videos that you'll see uploaded before these series of videos, or this series of videos. What you'll understand is that purpose can be different at different stages. Alright? In some of the other video clips that we have here, we talked about how, and I'd love for you guys to get very close so you can see it. Okay, get very close. There we go. So that's easier then. So we're going to talk about how purpose changes through your life. It's very difficult to say because everybody has different things that they're going through. So for example, somebody getting married in their mid-20s and having kids is going to have a different outlook than single people not having kids, right?
Yeah.
So we become the outliers the older we get and not fitting the normative definition of where people are.
Yeah.
So the idea is, do you want to share, for example, any ideas on finding your purpose or where you feel you are with purpose?
I think for when you want to find your purpose and kind of like find out who you are and what you want to do, you need to do some self-reflection first. Before you can kind of find out your purpose, you have to be able to acknowledge within yourself like who you are, like what do you want to do with yourself, what are your goals, what do you want to be, come up with a plan, like 5-year plan, we were talking before in the video, stuff like that. So before you kind of find your purpose, you reflect on yourself first and ask yourself the question like, well, who am I, and then what do I want to put out into the world that can be profit? Like, what can I do as work that doesn't feel like a job so I don't get burnt out on it? I think that's where I would start.
Very good. And how about you, Chris?
I have nothing to voice on this issue because I am in those group of people who are still doing those things that you just mentioned. So,
And that was a friendly laugh, a supportive laugh. Well,
it wasn't. Just making fun of me.
well, what you hear is, and from going to motivational seminars, doing motivational workshops, assisting people at motivational events, speakers and meeting famous authors, all these things, and assisting as a volunteer, assisting at a seminar company where the president and I became good friends, and we talked about that president, not the president of the United States, right? But we talked about success philosophies and things like this. What you realize, it's an ongoing process. You do not know where you're going to be necessarily. Some people do, some people don't, right? A good example of this is if you remember the artist Billy Joel, who's a piano player and singer. He's not he's not performing he's not recording as much in recent years or anything like that. He was a boxer before. And he decided that he was a boxer, and he got his nose broken, I think, and he decided, he was doing very well, but he said, I think I need to shift towards something else, and he chose piano. So there's this kind of conscious shift towards where do I want to spend my life's energy. The advantage of doing it that way, of having something and then staying with it, is that you can grow in it. You can have like we talked about in finances and the other place, there's some sort of accumulative thing there. So even if I was to become a rock star or something else, if the passion that you have wouldn't go away for that other thing, then you know it's your passion. That it's something for the long haul. So for example, let's say I won the lottery, became a rock star, whatever. I'm just giving you a quick example. I would not quit teaching. So this is a very important thing. I would still be teaching. So the thing that you can't shake away, what I call the sand on the hand. Like if you pick up sand, and I think other people have referred to it as well, but sand on the hand. It's the residue that's still on your hand after you throw away the sand. Am I making sense? So that passion, if it can't be twisted so easily that it can't be dismissed, then you know you're on the right track. So you mentioned, for example, Chris, maybe you can get in the frame, he mentioned martial arts. You said you want to get started more and more as a career. You want to move it towards a career, right?
Yeah.
So what would you need to do? What are some ideas what could he do, Walter, to
Train.
build? He could train. Go ahead.
Harder,
Train harder. Go ahead. What else?
That was it. That was to kick off his list there.
And also talking to people who are already doing what you're doing is so important. Am I making sense? So there's for example, one of my martial arts instructors who's in fight shape, right? When I took this class, he trained me on kickboxing moves. I have another guy that I go to, right, in one of the classes I told you, and he actually, and he's a barber on the side. So his passion is teaching these other classes, but he's also a barber. But he's a great instructor. His classes are always filled, and he helps me to correct my form. Like as I'm doing things, he'll, okay, do it like this. And so you're getting a good workout, you're learning martial arts in a fun way. So knowing how he's going to be different can be helpful. He doesn't have to be 100% different. He could join that gym where they have classes. I know the person who schedules. I actually know her, so I can connect you with her. You put yourself through the certificate program. You've got to make time because you already have another job. So create the flexibility to allow you to train, and you just start doing it. Get in the system. They say in personal development that anything that you want to do, start doing it perfectly, right? When I started playing music, I did performing in piano recitals and doing things like that here and there. But when I performed in Brazil, imagine singing in Portuguese and you're a non-native speaker of Portuguese. Somebody said, his singing is great, but one guy who was drunk, and he said, but his guitar playing sucked. And I was in a town playing, and I was like, I looked at him, and I was freaking out. And then a group of fans, they were called motor taxistas. They were the motor taxis, taxis.
Yeah.
So they would ride you around on their motorcycles. They said, you suck. They turned to the guy, they said, you suck. Why don't you take his guitar and try doing what he's doing? And so that guy professed to be like some great guitar player or something like him, but he was drunk. And I would play at these festivals, and I'd be so shy, I would put like the music stand in front of it. And my students were there, I was teaching English, and we had like 500 to 1,000 people there. And so I gradually played at these large festivals. For the CD release party at a reggae band, with a reggae band. We played the Bob Marley International Festival. So it started getting world, and we're on TV. So then it started going like this. So what I'm trying to say about this is you have to, and we were good.
Yeah.
So you have to eventually get to the point where you're getting rid of your fear of whatever you think is going to hold you back. Am I making sense? Because you have to stick with it and just keep doing it over and over and over. A lot of the great artists, great singers, Bono, Adam Levine, all these people, they were shy initially. The bandmates told Bono, you've got to work on your voice. That's Bono, right? So it's not that anything worth doing, they say, right? Brian Tracy and others say, it's worth doing imperfectly. So the idea is you can do this. It's a very achievable goal. And then the question is, how do you make money in it, right? Where it sustains your living. If you wouldn't miss your other job, then what happens is then you've got to look at how do you build that. Now there's an occupational viewing model you often heard me talking about before. Career, it goes job, that's what pays your bills. Then there's career, that's where you get the benefits, or you're growing in that, and you have a good income, a moderate income. And then you can travel and do more things with that income. And then there's calling. And the calling is you just have to do it whether you're getting paid for it or not getting paid for it. So this martial arts, you said you would do it. And you love cooking. And remember what you told us yesterday. Tell us about cooking. You would do it for free. There you go. And you cook for your family, friends, you cook for a living. And for me, what are we doing right now? We're recording YouTube clips. We're teaching, right? We're doing this for free. We just want to help people, and this is fun. It's fun, and I'm going to have another excuse tomorrow to talk about passion, purpose, finances, or something, because it makes sense. Like, I just couldn't imagine not talking about this. So when you just know that you'd be spending your free time, how you spend your free time on it, then you know you're already on the right track. Wayne Dyer and others say 6 months left to live. Well, how would you spend your life? If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you want to live? So these kinds of questions kind of kickstart you. Even a question that I used to ask myself, well, how do I work from home? Instead of working, I love teaching in front of the class, but maybe you get tired of rush hour traffic, or you wanted to spend a little more time at home and live a more relaxed lifestyle. So what's very important, I talked about it in the other video, is what kind of lifestyle we want. The lifestyle dictates what you're going to be doing in a lot of cases. It's so, a lot of people have it backwards. You know what I mean?
Explain.
So the lifestyle, if you want to be a martial arts instructor, have your own studio, where do you want to have the studio? What do you want to be, how do you want to be spending your day? So for example, I had a trainer, and I'm good friends with him. He's actually at one of the gyms that we go to. He trains celebrities on South Beach. And he loved it, trained celebrities on South Beach. Not only celebrities, but some celebrities, right? He trained people in Chicago, and he loved it. He had his own business. He wants to get back to having his own side business in the future. But the point is, you got to ask yourself, where do you want to be the martial arts instructor? If you're going to do it right here in Cincinnati, that's a great step. That could lead to someplace. Would you be willing to relocate for your hobby? I had another friend yesterday ask me a question. He says, how do you know if your passion is going to take you somewhere else? I said, we just have to be ready if it does. How committed do you want to be? And we can use what Jim Collins talks about in the book Book of Rage, right? And he talks about, you remember how we talked about this idea of the tiny darts? We might not have talked about it. Tiny darts are, whenever you're taking a risk, throw in darts in that direction and then throw your big weight behind it. So don't give up your job to develop martial arts skills, right? You get the training, you still need the income, and then you do it to where the risk is lessened. And then you just gradually transition into it. This is kind of how I did it with live teaching into online teaching. And now I'm going to add live teaching again. I'm going to balance it out. So you just shift. You might have different ideas. So the main thing is to get started in your goals by talking to people who are making their living. Getting them to, there are two people that I know that I could introduce you to, right? They're making their living. One guy's doing it part-time, the other guy's doing it full-time, right? You talk to them, what's their life like? What are you doing? What do I need to be qualified for? What's the best way to get there? And you talk to people that are doing what you're doing. Online instructors, I had a mentor in 2007. She was my boss at an online school, and she told me, yes, it's possible to work from home. And so from 2007 until now, I mean, even before that, I'd already been putting my eyes on that. And I even told, as I was getting promoted at my full-time job years ago, I told them I would like to eventually work from home. So you got to get very clear, because the company will have a plan for you. If they'll want to keep promoting you, and that's fine too. But if you want to make your kickboxing successful, they don't have to be mutually exclusive, right? The martial arts stuff. So you got to ask yourself, do you want it to be, how high do you want to go with it? Get in there, see what the potential is, and then open your studio, train other people, private lessons at homes. I had one friend who was a personal trainer. He's no longer with us. He was getting paid something like $100 or more an hour training people in their homes, like doctors and all these people. And he loved it because he brought his own equipment. Sometimes they had their own home gyms in these mansions. And so he had a demographic. So who's your target audience? So the target audience is very important. For example, administration was great, but I prefer working with students. I know that I love working with students. And I can even tell you the type of students that I prefer. Although I've had seminars where I've had graduate students and faculty, I prefer undergraduate. I prefer it where you're learning it for the first time. It's new to you. I just prefer it. So when you get very clear about who you're serving, I just like the idea of the newness, that it's all a mystery to them, or they might be somewhat familiar with some of the topics. So I feel I can make a greater contribution. I feel like it's not as, it's a little more easygoing, not as competitive or, I mean, I make it very challenging, but it's a little more playful. I think at the undergraduate level, you still have a little bit of playfulness in it. So what I'm saying is, with the martial arts, who do you want to train? You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about the students. Who do you want to train? Where do you want to train them? What city do you want to train them? How much money would you like to earn from that? Would you like to create a book or video series on it? You can put YouTube clips. You can make money recording your stuff on YouTube. There's a guy on YouTube that's doing this, but they do it for comedy and things, $600,000 a year. Right? You could market yourself, and it becomes your calling. It goes beyond your career, and you're doing it for free. You're getting paid, but it's out there. You have to do it. Just like the radio show, right? We're going to probably do it for free, but we're going to possibly have celebrities, and we're going to interview authors. and we're going to have questions lined up. That's so exciting. It doesn't matter if I don't get paid. It's a cool experience to fuel the passion. But you do want to get paid. Because eventually it means that if you can get paid for your martial arts or whatever passion you have, it allows you to do more of it. It allows you to spend more time doing that. And I want to tell you about a roommate of mine in college. He's a great guy, very motivated. He didn't get into medical school right away. And so he went to Wall Street, became rich. His other passion was business. But he felt miserable. I met him, met up with him again in California. He flew out to see me while he was visiting another friend. And he said to me, he was happy, but he didn't feel fulfilled. So the idea of the passion is you still haven't done what you need to do.
Yeah.
There's that idea of unfinished business. And that's the problem. So he said, I quit. So he moved down to Florida and picked up again, got into DO school. And he became a doctor. He bought a house across the street from the medical school because he had this. That kind of helped. His business skills still helped him with his practice. It's not like they're wasted. The thing you'll realize is nothing's wasted. That's something I've learned.
DO, the dental.
No, not a dental school. It's doctor of is it osteopathic medicine? I think it is.
Oncology?
Osteopathic medicine. It's like another type. There's 3 main medical schools apparently. So you have the MD, there's a DO, and I think there's one other one. It's like another version of medical school.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? So he went to a DO school, so he's very happy, but he's working a lot. And I haven't talked to him for a couple of years. But my point is, your passion will be your obsession, but don't kill yourself for your obsession. But do you understand? There's another reason you need to be following your passion. Because if you don't follow your passion, you're cheating the world. That's what I've learned. That's why you need to do what you're doing. A good example of this is, you guys know, and I have something that's even harder than what you're talking about. Like the martial arts is doable. That's totally doable, right? And mine is with music, and I'm going to record things, make some music videos. But what am I going to do? Put it on YouTube and iTunes. I'm not necessarily marketing them, right, to make money off it. I just want to have, it would be nice, but it's just something I want to do.
Right.
So can I do it? Yes. Because what I'm doing is, I'm getting you want to get the feedback, the professional feedback, to grow. Am I making sense? You want to make it to where there can't be a no. Can Chris get the martial arts certification? Are you alright?
Eyelashes are curling in my eyes.
Oh no.
What's on camera?
Oh, sorry about that. He was also picking his nose too. He didn't want you to see that. Just kidding. Sorry about that. But is that making
Thank you so much.
So the problem is that we talked about this, where people think that, I'll only do this if I become famous, or if I'm only guaranteed this amount of money. The problem is, you want to see, first of all, you want to see the plan. A business plan is good. I took an entrepreneurship class, and one of the things that we came up with was for a motivational set, just like a plan. And we showed how it could be profitable. So you have to have a plan, and it has to be original, but you're also using tried and true methods. So eventually your training, your reputation, people will follow you, or they'll want to train with you, or it'll leave. There's some people that I know, they don't have openings. It's hard to get an opening because they're so packed because of word of mouth. And they have the same clients, they keep word of mouth, they get more referrals. Word of mouth is only one way. They said it's like 67% helpful. But the idea is you want to have internet marketing, you want to have promotions, like you buy one pack, 5 classes, you get one free. You've got to create these incentives. And by the way, research shows that more people are willing to buy from you if you sold something to them. Remedial after though, if you give them some quick incentive. But the idea is,
They'll get one for free, and they're likely to come back.
they're more likely to come back, or every so often, variable interval. In one of the management training sessions I did, we talked about reward systems. I was teaching them about that. And the variable interval reward structure. So eventually you just give them like a freebie every so often. Like it's unpredictable. You know what I mean? And then they'll keep coming, and then you don't want them to only do it for the reward. And so that's the idea, that you want to
What do
make
you want them to do it for the reward? Because in the end, they're still coming back. And they're still, like, freebies. So you give them freebies at variable intervals. They're still coming back and having to pay you to get that freebie.
Yes, but you want it to be about the service. You don't want it to just be about the rewards, right?
Right.
Because if it's only about, and this is a great question you're asking, if it's only about the reward, then are they really doing it because they're passionate about it, or?
They're also, I mean, that's up in the air, but they are, your service is quality, or if they would not keep coming back. I mean, I have plenty. Let's talk Waffle House for a moment. I'm not a fan of Waffle House. I just don't like food.
The views of this professional in the video do not represent Waffle House, or
My views do not reflect Waffle House as a whole. Just my preference. I do not find Waffle House advertising. I have many coupons for buy one get one free, buy waffles, free hash browns. I gave them all away because if I don't like the service or the food that they provide, what do I need the freebies for? So I gave them away to other people that might have more use for. So the point I was making is, if they're coming back for even if it is for the freebies, your service must be worth something, because otherwise they wouldn't waste their time.
that's true. I mean, definitely the rewards. You're right. So eventually, we're here in Starbucks because we enjoy Starbucks. We enjoy the atmosphere. So even if we had a particular experience here one time, we would still, like a negative one, we would probably come back, right? I mean, unless somebody had a real bad experience. So you're right. The freebies, there actually is a reward on my card. I forgot about it. I completely forgot about it. I should find. Now you reminded me of it, and I'll find out. I got my gold card, so. But the point is, the idea is you're exactly right. Whether we want to stay with the product or service. Okay, we're going to kind of end it here because it's so noisy there in the background. We want to thank you for watching, and let's say bye, everyone. Walter and Chris, any closing thoughts?
Adios.
Any closing thoughts?
Todos.
Follow your.
Know your purpose, know your mission.
Know your purpose, know your mission. Thank you, Walter. Chris, any closing thoughts? Are you going to start on your martial arts?
Oh, it's training. But yes, I will take steps in that direction. Little darts.
Excellent.
Little darts.
All right, I want to thank our special guest today. Let's have a great day.